Driftwood. It all began when the lights went out. I was just sitting down to watch the news at 10 on television one stormy evening last January, when everything went black. Damn, I thought, hunting round for a torch. The fuses have gone. Ella found a torch in a drawer, and a feeble gleam of light filled the room. I went to the fuse box and opened it up. All the fuses were okay. "It's a power cut, isn't it?" said Ella. I could hear her in the kitchen looking for the candles. Suddenly she called, "Jim, there's a couple of dogs barking outside the window. They're in the garden, I can see them." "So what?" "Well, get rid of them. We don't want dogs in the garden. How did they get in, anyway? The gate's shut." "Must be the storm, it's blown the gate open." Grabbing a walking stick, I went out into the garden. The whole village was in darkness except for a couple of jabs of light from torches down the road, but I couldn't see any dogs. The wind was surging in off the sea, and I could hear the roar of the surf on the beach beyond the dunes. As for the gate, it was shut. I supposed the dogs had got in through a hole in the fence. It was just then that I heard the barking, or at least it sounded like barking, and shouting too. It was coming from the sand dunes. In the dark of the storm I couldn't really make out land from sky, but if I wasn't mistaken, there were people on top of the dunes, and they seemed to be waving their arms. For a moment I thought I saw torches. Then it was all dark again. I decided to investigate. Going inside, I grabbed my cape and hat. "I'm just going down to the dunes," I called. "I think there's someone down there having problems. It's probably old Tom and his boat." The rain was cutting my face as I unlocked the back gate and made my way across the grass to the dunes. It didn't matter that it was pitch dark out there. I knew the way so well that I could have crossed the dunes blindfolded with my hands tied behind my back. I still thought I could hear voices. In fact, I was sure I could. For a moment, it sounded like children screaming. I quickened my pace. Perhaps someone was in trouble. Maybe I should have brought a rope and a life jacket. The sand fell away under my feet as I climbed to the ridge of the dunes and looked over. Shielding my eyes from the spray-flecked wind, I peered into the darkness and strained my ears. But now I could hear nothing but the wind in my face and see nothing but the unbroken lines of the crashing waves. There was no sign of any people. I looked back towards the house. The lights had come back on again, but between me and the village I could see the beam of a torch. Someone was coming towards me. A voice called out, "That you, Jim?" It was old Tom. I could recognize his voice a mile off. "What's going on? What's the noise?" "I don't know. I can't see anything. Did you hear voices too?" "Sounded like shouting," said Tom, as he puffed up to the top of the ridge. He shone his torch in the direction of the rolling waves, but its weak beam showed nothing except rain, pebbles, and the dunes. "Where's your boat, Tom?" "Oh, she's okay. I pulled her up last week when they said there'd be storms." He paused. "Funny that, you know. I could have sworn I heard shouting." "How did you know it was me?" I asked. "You must have eyes like a night hawk." "No, Ella said you'd come over here. I came out 'cause I heard the dogs barking. Then I heard the voices, so I came to get you." We listened. "They've stopped," he added. "I guess it was just the sound effects with the wind and the waves." "I suppose so. There's nothing here." A particularly violent gust of wind almost blew us off our feet. "Come on, Tom. Let's get back inside. The lights are on again. Come and have a nightcap." I opened a can of beer. Tom preferred his usual tot of rum. "Funny about those voices," he said after a while. "It reminds me of a story my grandfather always used to tell me when I was a kid, all about the night when a Dutch bark was blown ashore here. Half the people on board were drowned. There were kids among them. He was a kid too at the time. It must have been a very long time ago." Tom went home, and I went to bed. During the night the storm died down. When the pale blue dawn broke, bands of silvery grey clouds stretched across the wind-swept sky. Out of curiosity, I walked down to the beach before going off to work, just to see what it looked like. The horizon was hard and wide, the stony beach deserted. It was all quite normal. The only thing new was a scattering of a few waterlogged wooden planks on the shore. Driftwood, I thought. Tom will have that for his fire.